Holla ballers, and let's take a look at the new UI for Midnight. Welcome to Silver Moon City. I am on the pre-alpha build that was for press only, but one of the major things that they announced as we got started with this is that they have implemented the new nameplate system, the new cooldown manager, the new boss mods. In fact, you can kind of see that here. We'll get to that later on, along with a host of other UI additions. As Ian put it, they are very much pulling back on anything that reads from the combat log. So stuff that comes with weak auras and timers and things like that is probably going away, and this is your actual first implementation of that, and more of it is likely to go over the course of Midnight as they move away from things that track things in the game for you. Cosmetically though, and he stressed this, things are going to be pretty similar. If you've got cosmetic add-ons, that should be totally fine. And one thing that is really cool that Ian and Paul Cubit, the director of Midnight, pointed out is they have invited a whole host of add-on creators. Some of the most popular add-ons that you guys use every single day have been invited to the pre-alpha to start working on their add-ons, updating them, finding problems, finding anything, and Blizzard is working with them to make sure that visually things remain very similar for you. Okay, so let's get started, guys. So let's first of all jump into our edit mode. Number of things here. First of all, the damage meter is here. Yes, this is going to be a Blizzard implemented damage meter. Unfortunately, it's not working right now. There's a number of things that were supposed to be in our build that are currently disabled, including a raid boss to test the raid boss mods. But that's currently not working and probably won't be by the time alpha goes live in about 24 hours. However, the damage meter was here. I was very excited, but it shows up. We see the box. It's here, but nothing happens. Unfortunately, it doesn't track anything. Let's go to the cooldown manager. This is what is going to be implemented. There's many people out there either download a weak aura or something like mine or whatever to track their major spell ability cooldowns and then have it in a nice simple way rather than being bunched up with all your action bars and spells. Okay, I will go to TLDR this entire video for you. I think that makes sense. These add-ons are perfectly serviceable for a new player. Far better than what Blizzard's ever had in the past. However, if you have something that is really up to your standards and is cosmetically perfect, including like the numbers, the fonts you use, the textures in the background, that is not going to be here, and you're probably going to stick with what you ordinarily use, assuming it works. The Blizzard one is fine. It doesn't have things that you want. It may come in the future. This is very much a work in progress, and videos like this and your feedback in the comment section are exactly what help enhance what they do. So, as you can see here, we have essential cooldowns and utility cooldowns. We have track buffs that are important to you. And in here, you'll have a simple menu of columns, icon direction, the size of the buttons. Do you want them more spread out? Do you want, and you can see it tracks it in real time. The opacity, do you want it to be invisible? Whatever you want it to be. Do you want it to go vertical? Do you want it to go horizontal, etc.? Show timer. You can show the tooltips, which is nice when you mouse over. And then you have advanced cooldown settings when you come into here. So this is where you kind of design your bars. And as you can see, it has a preview that goes with it. So in here, you pick and choose what you want to have on here. And they have selected nearly everything. In fact, when I turned this on, there was a great deal of spells that I just didn't need tracking in any way, and actually just declick them. So if I don't want to track Mind Blast, I can just drag it away down to here, and like it will just disappear. Now it's no longer being tracked. If I want it, I can track it. You can also reorder them. I find this very good. This is something I taught people back in, like, I don't know, MOP. Is to put your spells from left to right in the order of importance or when you should be clicking them. People always sort of look up, oh, do I press like this? Yeah, you just put them left to right. Whatever you want to press, put them left to right, and it'll work out just fine for you to track your cooldowns. You then have another bar under here, utility cooldowns. Again, you can drag things away if you don't want to see it, and you can drag it back on if you want to. You can have new alerts that you can put in and add sounds and things like that, and add alerts to it. Currently, it's not like allowing me to put a spell. I have tried like dragging spells in there, so if I would cannibalize in there, and it doesn't quite do anything to add into this. But you can put sounds into there and things like that. So I assume it's a work in progress to add things that you want into this system. So right now it has things that they've pre-selected, and then you'll hopefully be able to track certain things. You'll also notice the bars. The bars are another part of this, okay? So a very simple system. If you come to buffs, you see these tracked bars. And this will track certain abilities that have a duration that you would consider important. So right now it's got Entropic Rift, it's got Mindbender. Do you care how long your Entropic Rift lasts? Are you making decisions based on this? Yes, no, doesn't matter, doesn't get rid of it. Now you can add things like Power Infusion, right? You can add this up. How long my Ultimate Penance is going to last. Some things from here are missing that I hope in the future Blizzard does allow you to either customly add things, because I'm very wary when Blizzard creates add-ons like this that they think they know what's best. That's not always the case in certain situations, especially because I think in their minds, they have kind of already done it. I'll give you an example, actually. If I swap over to Shadow, one of the things I like to track is dispersion. If I'm using some sort of immunity or a very powerful defensive ability, I really, really like the ability to see exactly when that runs out. So you can see dispersion is here on my utility bar. You can see that, right? So what you could do is come into here, come into the cooldown manager, go into here and go into advanced. And you will see when you go to your spells, like dispersion is tracked there. Maybe I actually want dispersion to be one of my major cooldowns, the essential ones. I consider this an essential cooldown. So very easy, you just swap it between, right? No writing a weak aura or anything along those lines. But then I go into dispersion. And you will see the tracker for how long it lasts is on here. For some of you, that will be fine. I like it in a bar. It's those kinds of choices where you're like, yeah, I prefer it a different way. That's all, right? I prefer it a slightly different way. So this void form here, you can see is ticking out in a nice individual way, but other spells won't. So my Mindbender and stuff is all working just nicely with this cooldown manager. However, it's not quite as I like it. I know it's picky, but that's the point of the UI, right? We want it to be a certain way. That's kind of the big deal. While I'm here, I should point out the nameplates. Yes, these are the new Blizzard nameplates that they've put into the game. You can see the one that you've got threat with is red. You can see here. There's very little in the way of customization for this right now. They basically asked us if we can test it, like check your dots out and things like that, right? Is to see what we think of this. This is definitely an improvement over what Blizzard has already had in the game since the start of the game. However, a couple of things that definitely need fixing. And you can have some choices here with nameplates, how you want them to work, similar stuff to what you've seen in the past. Do you want them to stack? What information do you want on them? Simplify nameplates in some way. You have a few choices to go with here. However, I will point out one of the most hilarious things. One, this is going to come down to what you guys prefer. Cast bars and things do show on them. Death Knights, I'm really sorry. Until Blizzard fixes this, you are the identical color of... your nameplate is the same as this. It's identical. I have a little footage for you here. We were actually playing with Biceps, and when we were playing Shadow and Warlocks, we couldn't tell if he was a mob or a friendly player. That's something Blizzard wants to address right quick. It has been pointed out by many, many people when we were chilling in Discord earlier, is you cannot tell who is a Death Knight and who is an enemy when running around. But definitely preferable. Some more customization is required here for various things in order to be able to effectively track. But for the most part, in a lot of cases, what I'm hearing, I have only been playing for a few hours, so give me a bit of rope on this, is most people are actually finding it perfectly fine. And this whole system is set up in about 20 minutes when you log in, and it's as if you've got add-on packs. That's what Blizzard's going for. That's what works. Okay. Let's move on to the next big one then, considering damage meters aren't here, and that is Bossmods. Blizzard's own Bossmod. They do not want you to be using bigwigs and deadly boss mods anymore. They are putting their own in the game, and the reason they're doing that is pretty obvious. They want you to use the information they believe you need in order to defeat the bosses, and no more. And it's called Combat Warnings, is what it's called. It's called Combat Warnings. You can see it here. So Combat Warnings is going to work like this. This is very similar to a popular weak aura that a lot of people like. I will tell you now, I don't like this. I've played this for a few dungeons now. I'm not a fan. You do get used to it. It's just not something I enjoy having on my screen compared to just countdown bars with like the name of the spell over them. You can activate tooltips. So if we go into here, again, you got the similar edit mode that comes with it, is that you can have tooltips. This is really nice though, is like the ability is coming. You can see it queued up. and you can mouse over it. It doesn't work here. In fact, I seem to be one of the only people during this pre-alpha that actually has the animated version of this, which is odd. I don't know why that's happening, but it is what it is. We'll have some footage going of it actually working in combat. But what I want to show you first of all, and I think this is really interesting. This is for the mega nerds out there. Notice as this stacks up, you'll have to wait for it to reset again, is while spells are backed up because they're on long cooldowns, like this spell has got 13 seconds, so it doesn't join this timeline, this 10-second timeline, for a while. You'll notice other spells drop in. Now, I'm wondering, based on watching this, you see the way they drop in like this, even though they weren't ready here? I'm wondering if they've solved spell queuing. And if you're not sure what that is, don't worry about it, but it's a nightmarish, horrific feature of certain boss encounters, and it becomes something that really skilled raid leaders need to learn incredibly well as to which spells, when a boss has multiple spells to choose from, actually get priority, and therefore the boss will cast that first. And it means that sometimes you guys will have noticed that bosses do things in a weird order. Zekvoz, I believe he's called, which was the initial Delve end boss, was very, very bad with this. I'm wondering if, because Blizzard has made this, if they have built in the spell priority. And now spell queuing will still happen, however, you will get a good notification of what's going on. Now, you have let's cut some footage here while I describe it, because I tried a few different things. Is that you can see there's very little modification you can do with this. You get combat timeline, you get critical warnings, medium warnings, and ordinary warnings in the 4 separate bars that come with this boss mod. But essentially all you can really do is make it horizontal or vertical. And that's about it. Other than that, it doesn't do much else, which means if you're not a huge fan of this style of boss mod, kind of get used to it. It is what it is. Whether or not they're going to allow some variation for aesthetic purposes, because this is quite a strong aesthetic choice to people's UIs as to how this boss mod works. Or like it or lump it, this is what your boss mod is going to look like in World of Warcraft forevermore, and it could be one of those things that like 4 or 5 weeks after the Midnight launches and people just get used to it, it is what it is, and that, yep, that's what we use. I know when I move to a different game, be it Fellowship or Final Fantasy XIV or something like that, and I see their style of doing it, I just accept it. That is the way it is, and I get used to it very quickly. That's likely to be a thing here. So that's a nice little preview of those. Obviously, we'll come back to you when damage meters and things are working, but those are the initial impressions. Now, don't be stressed out if this is not what you like. Feedback is what this is all about. This is why Blizzard is letting these add-on developers into the pre-alpha as soon as humanly possible to get working on things, and also why, and Ian and Paul stress this enough, there's still time to change. Very crucial piece of information. There's still time to change these things. So if there's anything you see that you're like, I really, really hate this, I don't want this, and try and think about it from the perspective of, is it just not what you're used to? Leave the feedback now, and we'll do our best to get it to you. But those are your initial UI changes for Midnight, ladies and gentlemen. Love to see what you got to say. Goodbye.